Let's ask Willie, that's King, I'm sorry, if you lead us a prayer. Excuse me again. You're welcome.
All right, Chairman, our Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom as we begin this meeting. We acknowledge that we need your wisdom and insight, and we welcome your presence among us. Guide us in our discussions and our decisions, giving us to seek what is best for all involved. We trust in your perfect wisdom, and we ask that you direct our meeting according to your will. In your book of James, the first chapter, the fifth verse, you say, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given unto him. We claim this promise as we start our meeting and trust in your provision. Thank you for being with us always. And God, people said, Amen.
Yeah, I don't believe anybody signed up for public comments, so the first thing on the agenda is approval of minutes. Our last meeting was October 1st, 2024. And the board should have a copy of the minutes.
Having read that, in fact, very laudable concept that presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, our minutes are approved. The first item on the agenda is the financial statement. We all have it here in everybody's packet. The financial statements from October until March. You can tell we took in during that time $837,000, but $140,000 of that was just a grant that came into us that we just passed on. That $140,000 immediately given for job training. It looks like, is there any questions from anybody about any of the items? Our payroll was a little, probably more than what you would expect, and that's because Eddie had a lot of vacation time left when he retired, so we paid him for all of that.
I move we accept the minutes, financial report.
Have a move to accept the financial report, and a second, everybody vote? Everybody in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'm gonna go to the podium to talk. It's been 7 months since we met, and I think we have a lot to talk about, a lot to vote on. Good things have happened, bad things have happened. Tonight, I want to spend a little time explaining why we hadn't met for 7 months, and why we can meet now. I want to talk about economic development. There's been some things said about JEDCO, act like we don't know what we're doing, and I think I need to clarify it in a way that I believe that we know what we're doing. I'd like to actually take this moment to kind of teach a little bit about economic development. And I'd like to talk about our vision for the future. In order to really start this in the way I want to do it, I want to talk a little bit about myself, and you'll see why talking about myself leads to talking about JEDCO. And I'm going to try to be, I tell you, I do not like talking in public. Everybody knows what I don't like, but I have some things that I really want to say, and I'm going to try to say them the best I can in as nice a way as I can, okay? First of all, I'm here just because Eddie Hopkins is not Eddie's the best executive director you could ever want for JEDCO. And I'm not gonna try to replace him, and it's not my position to. I'm just a volunteer. But I've tried to take up a little bit of slack during this time, and I'm the one that's gonna have to present this message tonight, so I'm gonna try my best. But, I want to be sure and emphasize how much we miss Eddie and wish Eddie was back here doing this, okay? I graduated from the University of Texas in chemical engineering, with a bachelor's in chemical engineering in 1967. In 1967, I went to work for Houston Lighting and Power. Even though I had an engineering degree, I've always been as much interested in business as engineering. And in that capacity for Houston Lighting and Power, my job mainly was to promote Houston and try to get, it was in the industrial sales department, to try to get companies to move, mainly chemical companies, to move to Houston and do business there. So I started out in 1967 doing economic evaluations and studies to try to develop business. I've been doing this off and on in some way since 1967. I worked for 2 years for Houston Lighting and Power, and then luckily the company that I was real familiar with asked me to come to work for them, Dow Shea. It was a joint venture between Dow Chemical and BASF. And what I did in my first position there was write up, do the economics for any project that they were planning. I would do the economic workup and use decision criteria to decide whether this was a good project for Dow Shea or not. And I would present it to the boards. And I did that for several years until I was offered other positions there. I worked for Dow Shea for 11 years, and then my wife's father died.
You married well, you forgot that.
I did marry well. I married the same time in '67. Actually, I married a semester before I graduated. Bonnie helped me get out of school. and I wouldn't be in Jasper if it wasn't for Bonnie. Anyway, her father died, and we were asked to move to Jasper and help with family business and so forth. And we studied Jasper for 2 years before we decided to move here. And Jasper looked good to us. There were 3 large industries here. There was O&I, out on 63. There was Visador, on Houston Street. And then there was the sawmill in the McQueen Street. It started at Leland Woods, and it was Louisiana Pacific, I think, by that time. And we decided, pine trees, lakes, just Jasper looked like it had lots of potential to us. And so we moved here. But it took us, we moved here in the summer of '79, but it took us over 2 years to actually buy Irradiators. And when we bought it, we owed for our car, our house, and a big note at the bank. And I've heard other comments about people on this board about it. Oh, it's old family money. Well, let me tell you, it wasn't even family money for us much. And the thing that helped me be a good business was, again, knowing how to go to banks, prepare economic studies for them, showing us that, hey, I can pay this back. And we were successful in getting loans and able to buy it out. And just shortly after we bought it out, this is where I'm going with this. Just shortly after we bought it out, all 3 companies, O&I, LP, Visador, they all shut down. And all those employees were lost, and lots of businesses were having trouble. We stayed in business only because we could move concrete plants to other locations. It's the only way we stayed in business. But at that same time, we were active in the Jasper Chamber of Commerce. And the Jasper Chamber of Commerce, with the help of Tom Bledsoe, we discovered that there was a bill called the, and I wrote it down where I would remember it, it was the Developer Corporation Act of 1979 that allowed people to go after a 0.5% sales tax that was meant for economic development. Even though the act came about in '79, funds were not available until 1989. And in 1991, the Chamber of Commerce approached the city of Jasper, another example of how we can work well in the city of Jasper. And we convinced the city of Jasper to go after these funds. It took a local election by the citizens of Jasper, and the citizens voted for us to go after the funds, and we did. We were able to get those funds, and since then, those funds were made available by a Section 4A part of that, and it was only available for certain things. And that's kind of how we operate today, except that in 2008, JEDCO went to the citizens of Jasper again and asked if we could use part of those 4A funds to do 4B projects, which allowed us to start being able to put money into youth activities, tourism, and there was one more. But anyway, we were able to use this for more funds than in the past. And we at that same time, they changed the membership in the board of JEDCO from 5 to 17. And new bylaws were passed at that time. The bylaws, I'm going to make this plain too, the bylaws for JEDCO are a joint venture between JEDCO and the city. The city of Jasper does not write our bylaws or change the amount of people on our board. Those are in our bylaws, and they're approved both by JEDCO and the city of Jasper. The city of Jasper does have complete control on who is appointed to this board. And they have, the way I understand it, they can replace us anytime, but I don't think they can change the number on the board without going back to JEDCO. It's worth pointing out also that when Gated Rentals and Greg moved to Jasper, all of these 3 locations that I talked about that they moved away from, all of a sudden we'll have somebody in all 3 locations again. Yeah. It's taken this long to bring it back. Okay. On our board, we've got this and this we've gone over many times. I don't know that, we passed this out to all our board members. But these are the type things that Jasper has done. And I've gone over this many times. I won't go over it quickly again. First thing that happened when we started JEDCO was the prison. JEDCO could not take credit for the prison being here because the city already had it coming with it. But they did jump on JEDCO's money, and we had to pay the bonds off to the city for all the utilities that went to get to the prison. So we did contribute to that. We helped bring Walmart and Lowe's to Jasper, and that's a large part of the sales tax that's generated that we use for most and a lot of other people, those two. We created the Jasper Industrial Park. We purchased the property and developed the park, and now we have 2 businesses, Spectre Aeronautics that are repairing aircraft, and we have another company that's owned by John O'Neill that has 2 buildings at the industrial park now that's repairing helicopters. We also have helped 3 companies that are in what I call the Railroad Industrial Complex. That's the complex at the end of the Queen Street. three companies are located there: Traeger Woods, Pellets, East X Fibers, and Terra Viking. All three of those are planning a pretty good sized expansion. Terra Viking was gonna be a huge expansion. We've been working on this for years. And I just talked to him today about what's the status of that. They were gonna put in a huge renewable diesel complex. And right now, that is completely on hold. They still wanna do it, but right now, with the present situation on fossil fuels, going back to that, they're a little concerned about what's the status of biodiesel right now. So I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon, but he also told me today, when I was talking to him, that also greatly affects the project that's planned in Von Ware-ton. They're not gonna build that if they don't have a market for biodiesel. Okay. Downtown development, we've done a lot. JEDCO's worked a lot downtown. Of course, we built the parking lot there, we brought Provalis there. We had the facade program that we're gonna be talking about some more tonight. That is a really good program, and that is, and that's a grant, everybody. That's not money that JEDCO just gives away. That money is, we're only matching money that other people spend, and we're only matching up to $10,000. You know, to hear people talk about it, it's like we're just giving money away there. All of that is going to help downtown looks, and it's not all paid for by JEDCO. We have the Jewel Bistro Cafe. We have a company we're working with right now called Retail Strategies on developing lots of retail things in Jasper. All of this has kind of been on hold with the last 7 months to some extent, but we are still working on some things, and we're working on some things that a lot of what JEDCO does has to be kept secret. I mean, that's part of it. You cannot, when people come to us and they want to do something, they don't want it out right first. And I know a lot of things that are trying to happen now that I can't talk about tonight. Okay. We've helped a lot of existing businesses. We've helped the school. Well, first of all, you know, we purchased all that property for a future sports complex, and now they're logging right now. And we're going to have a report on that tonight too, so I won't go into that too much. But we've helped to bring the East Texas College of Career Alliance to Jasper. We've matched lots of school grants. We funded restrooms for build new restrooms for the existing youth facilities, and we funded the Jasper ISD scoreboards. We built this welcome center. Well, we didn't build the building, but we remodeled it. We've helped the city with different things like Manuel and Thomas Streets. We've helped the Jasper County by providing generators. We helped fire and safety people by providing drones. Okay, Sam, can you put up the next?
Still have the mouse to click over. It's one tab over.
Here. I don't know any better example of how to show what JEDCO's done than this, is to show this. I mean, I just started this. This is the period of time that Eddie was our executive director. I just looked at that time. We took in $8 million, $8,889,000,000 in sales tax income. But I understand from a lot of sources that only about 16% of the money that comes in sales tax is actually paid in by Jasper citizens. So if that were true, then only 1,422,000 came from Jasper citizens over that 7 years. Okay, but look what we did with that money. Providence, they put in, the wages from Providence is $24 million over 5 years. The industrial park, the three companies out there, is $20 million over 7 years. The airport industrial park, Spectra, is about $5 million over 5 years. That totals $49 million in wages. And when the city of Jasper citizens only put in $1.4 million. Also, and you can go, I tried to study multipliers. There's a lot of multipliers about how much wages go to other things, like, other employees. I know, I'm having trouble.
The money turns over.
It just turns over in the community, and there's lots of, I tried reading, and there's lots of discussion about this, but I found some that 5.7 modifier for information industry, 5.1 multiplier for manufacturing. You apply that to all of those, and you come up with $264 million from $1.4 billion of citizens of Jasper. You cannot invest your money any better than that. Okay? Also, we have JD Reynolds. They're not even in here. He's gonna be talking in a little while. Greg's here, top representative JD Reynolds. They're out, they're working hard right now to put in a facility at the old O&I plant. And we'll be talking about that. They're gonna, I've got 30 employees there, but he tells me he's gonna get up to 50, right? And I think he's gonna commit to that. All right? And I will use 30 in that. I don't know any other way to show what Jasper is. Enough on it. One more thing I want to talk about. Why have we not met for 7 months? And how come we can meet? There was a question about, and Jim Miranda brought it up in our last meeting. We hadn't had a meeting since, about the legality of our board. Well, I didn't try to answer that. Nobody tried to answer you at that meeting, but I think we can answer it now. We have not seen the legal opinion from the lawyers, but I know pretty well what's in it. And I know that certain people don't want us to see it because it's only good for JEDCO. JEDCO is a legal board. We serve until we're replaced by the city council, and none of us have been replaced. Okay? Every vote we make is right. We did not want to meet, and we were advised not to meet till we had a legal opinion as to whether we were legal or not. I still hadn't seen a legal opinion, but I have been told by different council, the mayor, the city attorney, that we can go ahead and meet for legal, okay? And hopefully someday the city council will release the legal opinion that says that, okay? I want to mention too, that this is not the first time that this has happened. When our terms have been expired and not replaced on time. It's only taken one city council meeting before to solve this problem. It's not different. It should have been immediate. The minute it was brought up as a problem, the city council should have handled it. And you can't blame JEDCO for that. I think that we probably could have done a better job pushing the city to do it, but from my opinion, pushing the city doesn't work either. Okay? There was a city council meeting on Monday, April 14th, in which 3 voting members of the city council were present. 2 of the 3 sit on our board. One of the two JEDCO board members voted to continue to delay releasing this legal opinion, knowing that the legal opinion would be favorable to JEDCO. Despite this vote, the city of Jasper attorney, Billy Morley, and Quinn Hildebrand, city councilman, both told me that it was okay for us to go ahead and start meeting, that we were legal. I would like our board member, Ronnie Sample, to please explain to this JEDCO board why he is not allowed, he did not vote for JEDCO to see this. I think you owe it to JEDCO to tell us, Ronnie, why you won't let JEDCO board see this legal opinion.
Had been approved for us to show it to you.
But it just took your vote, and it would have been approved.
There's nothing wrong here. It's just what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've talked about, what's been taught to me, what's been told to me, what's been shown me. Is this board is just too big, too many, and they themselves just kind of took over what JEDCO's supposed to do. JEDCO does a lot of good things. We think that some of the people here think that they're above everything else. Just because they're over with JEDCO, they're above everything else. They don't have to answer to nobody, they don't have to do nothing. They do. They have to answer to the people of Jasper, Texas. Am I right or wrong?
Well, that's what I hope this election does. And I've preached since I've had anything to do with JEDCO that we should stay out of politics. But I hope the citizens of Jasper understand what's going on here, and the citizens of Jasper will get out and vote because they need to vote. We need a better city council. Okay?
Hey, why don't you run for the job?
I don't live in the city. I don't live in the city of Jasper.
But you want to run everybody down, why don't you run? Why don't you get somebody to run?
I have. I have.
Roll call, please.
I didn't want to go through that, y'all, but I felt like we needed to. Okay, that is my report. Charles Warren, I think, has a report, has actually two reports he's going to give. Okay, on our youth field and on the facade program.
We started the building facade improvement grant program about 2 years ago, and it has been one of the most successful things that we've done. We've granted at least 25 grants, and in that, only 4 of the applications, excuse me, only 4 of the applications were not approved. 2 applications was asked to reapply and provided the information. They did so, and their applications was approved. And I gave each council member the application form. And under that, on page 2, under the type of projects, eligible for receiving grants, subparagraph. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. And they did so, and it was approved. And you can see on page 4 under application requirements. And we do have some requirements there so that we can make sure the money is spent where it's supposed to be spent. And I have an excellent review board. And we review each one of these. And the other 2 that did not meet the requirements, the first application requested applying of a new roof on the building. Well, on page 2, under type of projects eligible to receive grants, subparagraph D, roofing is not a part of the grant funding. The grant funding was for exterior beautification, painting, new windows, if there was a handicap ramp that had to be built, new canopies, but roofing was not a part of it, so we could not approve that grant. The second application that was not approved was a request for equipment for a car wash. Again, going back to page 2, subparagraph on grant eligible for grants, paragraphs A, B, C, D, and E, equipment is not a part of the grant program. Now, we have bought equipment for different businesses, but then it's applied for, they come to us and ask. It's not applicable with this grant. We are now looking in the future for an increase in these type of projects. It's been a really good project. We've helped a lot of businesses. We first started with the downtown project, but then we decided that wasn't fair to the other businesses in Jasper. So we included any business within Jasper's city limits. And we have not extended any grant or any grant applications for very long. It was usually approved or disapproved within a few days of the application made. But like I said, we have a very strong committee that looks over this, and they make sure that we are following our application. As far as the sports complex goes, when we bought that property, and we bought it from the Jones family, they, in the purchase of the property, they kept possession of the log, or the timber there. And they said that they would remove that timber within 3 years. Well, a couple weeks ago, they have started the operation, and they are clearing that land for us. And we later purchased 14 acres in front of Highway 190. And we're going to ask them, since they're out there removing those logs of the old Jones's property, we're going to ask them to move the logs on that 14 acres frontage on 190. But that program's coming along real well. And if we can further go along with this, it'll be a good project.
Thank you, Charles. Next thing, we'd like to move on to our action items. And the first one on the action item on our agenda is mowing bids. There's not really any discussion there. We're gonna go out for bids. We have people wanting to bid on some of our mowing that have given some lower prices, and we're gonna go out for bids to make that fair to everybody. But I'd like to go ahead and let the Chamber of Commerce has a project that they want to talk about. It's down here on E. I'd like them to go ahead and talk about it, place it on. Leanna, let's go.
You took my report.
No.
Here's another one right
Well, it
Hey,
was some.
Paul, tell what you had
No,
to say.
it was some stuff I typed up.
Oh, no.
No.
Wait.
That's just.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. There's Sam. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Leanna Hobson. For those that don't know me, I am here, I work with the chamber. And I want to say that this is not reinventing the wheel. This is something that a lot of towns have. I put together a presentation. And so let me start how this started. Sam went to a meeting in Nederland, and that EDC has put together, I don't know if anyone's been there, but they have the Holland Dutch shoe. That's really a big feature landmark in their city. So when he told me that, I Googled it, and I'm like, we need to do this. Jasper needs this. So this is how this came into fruition. So, does everybody have their little packet? I know everybody, you guys want to pass it around. So this is why. Okay, so introducing Jasper's iconic butterfly feature. As many of you know, Governor Greg Abbott officially named Jasper the butterfly capital of Texas. Today we're excited to present a project that embraces the recognition and transforms it into something truly iconic for our town. We are proposing a butterfly-themed feature that will not only celebrate Jasper's unique identity, but also attract visitors and bring pride to our community. These butterfly icons will be placed at key locations throughout town, boutiques, medical facilities, parks, and more. Each one creatively painted, well, I guess that's still kind of up in the air for that one, but that was kind of my vision, to reflect the character and spirit of its location. This initiative is more than just public art. It's a symbol, a landmark, a photo opportunity, a reason for people to stop, explore, and connect with Jasper. Each butterfly icon will be available for purchase through JEDCO, if this comes into fruition and passes, the Jasper Economic Development Corporation. This initiative will help in supporting the beautification and economic growth for our area. With this feature, we aim to create a trail of butterflies that draws attention, sparks curiosity, and turns Jasper into a destination for visitors, photographers, families, and nature lovers. So let's give this one more reason to fall in love with Jasper, one butterfly at a time. And so what I put together is why. So growth, change, community. The communities that have done this, one that I'm from, Fort Wayne, Indiana, the mastodon was discovered there, and so that is something that they put all around town. And whatever location that purchased it, painted it to whatever fit their needs and how they saw fit. So it just attracts the people, it brings them to the town. Like I said, it's a photo opportunity, but it sparks their curiosity, it brings them here. So while they're here, we're hoping that they go to eat and they shop at the boutiques. Here's a picture of the mastodon. This is one of them. You guys have your? Sure. So it becomes the town's iconic landmark. Hemphill has the bobbers. Toledo Ben? Hemphill? Have you guys not seen the bobbers? In town? No? Bob's like, okay, this is the one in Nederland. They have the Dutch shoe. And these, so in the very back, these are pretty big. So the first one, we would like to have the original one be about 8 foot, and it would sit out front of the visitor center. And then each one would be about 3 to 4 foot scale. And we just envision it sitting in, like we said, in front of boutiques and different places that people can hop around and take a look. So, just wanted to introduce that, and Seabrook has the seagulls.
I was gonna say, for those who may not be aware, do you want to tell the reason why butterflies? Because of Jasper's designation?
Yes, I just, you weren't listening to me, Carmen. Now okay. I know you're paying attention now. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody knows.
Back to the
we're-
first paragraph.
With that, I don't ever stop thinking, my brain doesn't ever turn off. So I like to never just stop at one thing. I'm hoping that this, again, sparks the creativity in us to keep moving forward. I'm hoping that this is something we can bring to the parks to go along with it. This is basically like chicken wire, and I was thinking we would use fake plants because obviously we don't know what committee we could put together to keep that going. But that would be a large scale. Also, painting murals to kind of go along with it. These are things I hope we can just do in steps, and eventually we'll get there.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
really think Jasper needs to do more to emphasize that we're the butterfly capital of Texas.
So, no.
Okay, Keita, is Keita here?
Yeah.
Or, yes, would you like to say something about, would you like to tell everybody what you have planned in the assisted living? Or you want me to try to do it?
Yeah, I have a Right Way Assisted Living, facility opening here in Jasper. It used to be Rosewood. I don't know if anybody remember, Rosewood Assisted Living. So my husband is born and raised here in Jasper. We moved here last April to, I think at some point we were looking into putting one of our parents into a assisted living facility, and then as we explored it a little bit, it was some things that we wanted to get involved with, some things we wanted to change because we love our senior citizens, right? So this one became available to sell, for sale, and we purchased it. 10 days after we purchased it, the Hurricane Beryl, the tornado just tore it completely down. But we hung in there, we rebuilt it, and in January of this year, about January 15th, the building is ready to go again. So we're getting ready to open it up based on the inspection that we have to get from the state of Texas. The facility is able to hold 11, at least 11 senior citizens, which could possibly be disabled or just elderly, Alzheimer's, or dementia, in that vicinity. And we offer full-time care, 24/7, full-time care. And we specialize in memory care. It's a 1950s and 60s theme, because music helps memory care. They're directly linked. So we are specializing in that kind of therapy. We're not like a nursing home. We're very exclusive, very one-on-one. Like, we're trying to bring a facility here that we would want our parents to be able to go in. It's a lot of love, a lot of details. So we're offering the 24-hour service, laundry care, recreation, going for walks. We are able to distribute their medication and provide like chef-inspired meals based on like their dietary confinements and things like that. Fresh. Not tired of seeing our senior citizens like being not taken care of, not bathed properly, not fed properly, things like that. So we're trying to bring the love that my husband felt like he had here in Jasper, how he sees senior citizens and their families taken care of. So we're trying to bring that. We're not trying, we brought it. It's here. So here, this is our first location, and we hope to be able to expand. Not big, we'll never be big, we'll always be small and exclusive, because that's where we really believe the love comes from. When you're small and exclusive like that, so.
Would you go into what you like from JEDCO board?
Oh, so we had, so we purchased our building ourselves, we, did everything, and then when the state of Texas came out to inspect, the National Fire Protection, Agency said that we had to have sprinklers. We have sprinklers throughout our whole house. But now they're saying you have to have them outside the house. So, as we thought we were getting ready to open, you know, it kind of ran us past because we had to get the as-built, we had to have the engineer come out and things like that. So, it took us past our budget because we did everything. And it's gorgeous, it's ready to go. And then they kind of sprung that on us. So the sprinklers outside, and to have the engineer come in was, you know, a little bit more than we could afford, so we reached out to JEDCO to see if they could help us get the sprinklers outside, so we can pass our inspection and we can open our business. Right, the assisted living store.
About how many, I know the answer to this, but the board needs to, about how many employees we,
Oh, we're gonna start with 5. We should gradually work our way up to 10. Over probably like 2 years, we should be up to about 10 employees.
we will discuss what your needs in an executive session and then hopefully come back in the regular session and.
Do we have a dollar amount that we're
Yes,
looking at?
yes,
Yes,
I do. And you're asking for two things, really. You're asking
Yes.
to pay for the study and for the sprinklers both, which total up $13,692.
yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions of her? We will, of course, discuss this in executive session. Okay? All right, thank you, Keith. The next thing is Greg Briscoe is gonna talk a little bit and tell, this is gated rentals. They're the ones that are going into the OI facility, and they have spent a lot of money. They're getting close to startup. We're helping them. He signed an agreement with JEDCO that we would pay for certain things up to certain amounts. And what we do is we're reimbursing them as they pay for these different things. And some of them have run over, and he will, if you would bring everybody up to date on the project.
Appreciate it, and thank you all for the time today. Just want to first and foremost, Chris Harkness, who's our plant manager here in Jasper. We just want to thank you all very much for the outreach. We spent a long time looking for a community to find a home in, and Jasper was that community for us. We are now moving, as we're going forward here, we've entered a phase where our communities in the Houston area have started to develop. We've got one, the construction will be done in May, the other will be June. And so that's where myself and my group, as our home assembly arm, and utilizing the facility here in Jasper, really focuses in on the next phase for our business. And what that is, we provide affordable homes for people that are making $12.50 to $30 an hour, service workers in the community, those that are working at your HEB, your Kroger, Berkshire's, and making sure that they've got a place, non-subsidized, that they can go and create as their home. We have got plans for about 2,000 homes in our first phase in the greater Houston area, and we'll be expanding into other parts of Texas as we grow the business. My focus here is to make sure between now and the end of the year, we get our first number of homes out of the production facility here. And so with that, over the course of May, we'll be entering our phase where we're hiring individuals here. We started that as a trickle here with supervisors over the past couple of weeks. We extended a few more offers yesterday, and now we'll be entering another phase where we're not only bringing in people, as we've talked about with JEDCO in the past, but also bringing suppliers in, spending money to create those homes. So as we've gone through this process over the past number of months and working and upgrading the facility, we run into the highs and lows as you would anticipate in any type of expansion. And so with that, the highs have been the community engagement, the people that we've met, the people that we've talked to, the job fair we were able to participate in, and the hope that we have to really fulfill the jobs and expand our business as we have wanted to. That's been a tremendous amount of support, not only from the people in this room, but for the people in the greater community. Chris grew up in East Texas. Unfortunately, I grew up in the soon-to-be 51st state, northern Canada. But this is very much akin to where I grew up. Small town, people that lived and worked in the community for most of their lives, but took a great deal of pride, had a great deal of faith, and ensured that helping out and expanding and doing what you could to help each other was as important as helping yourself. So when I come here several times a week, visit Chris, as we grow here and become part of the community, it's something we're very, very mindful of, that we have to live with the commitments that we have, and make sure that we're representing Jasper inside of this community and outside of this community as best we can. So I just want to thank you all for what you've done for us so far. With that said, we have had significant cost overrun, coincidentally with the sprinkler systems and other items, rebuilding the electrical system. We brought in a significant amount of improvements to the facility so that we can utilize it for the next 25, 30, 40, 50 years, and really help to revitalize that facility, the old LP plant. What we are looking at now is just to help offset some of the costs of the expansion, and with that, increase our commitment to JEDCO for hiring. We're looking to add an additional commitment of 20 spots to be hired before the end of this year. Most of those, which brings us to 50, most of those will be hired over the course of the next 90 days. And with that, we would request an expansion of our original agreement to a secondary agreement to include $350,000 to offset that expansion, or those additional costs that we had for the sprinkler system, and for the other improvements that we had to do to the facility, which we were unaware of when the initial evaluations took place.
Let me say, when most people come to us, they underestimate the number of employees they're gonna have, because we're gonna hold them accountable. They're gonna have to pay us back if they don't get up to that. So he's come back with more money, but he came back with more employees, asking for more money, but he's come back with 20 more employees too. So we will be discussing that in executive session and get back to you after that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Greg? Okay.
Just one.
Yes, sir.
In a previous discussion, kind of talked about the salary that we were looking at, and so the impact of the money that it brings in offset by the money that JEDCO or whoever's putting out.
Absolutely. So in terms of where we are for salaries and where we are, so we have both staff, which would be salaried staff, and we've got the staff to be hourly. As far as the hourly employees, we're going to work a 4-10 shift at our facility. So 4 days a week, 10 hours per day. With that, we give standard benefits. So day one, when an employee starts, they receive access to medical care, they receive a 401k match, they receive standard long-term disability and standard short-term disability paid for by the company. As far as the wage rates that we go at, we have to look at those that are with respect to the, basically close to Davis Bacon for what we're doing. And so some positions will start at $14.50, $15, $16. Other positions will go into $30 an hour range. Salary positions, some might go higher. So it's dependent upon the skill set of the individual and whether or not they want to learn to do other things as well. So if we take an individual that maybe they're not trained in a certain skill or craft, but they want to stay with the organization, they want to build and grow. We're working with organizations here locally to help not only do in-house training, but supplement that with third-party training. And so they can grow, for example, if they became certified to operate a forklift, if they became certified to operate one of the cranes that we put in, they get to gain an additional $1, additional $2 an hour. And so that way they can increase their wages as they're going over time. We looked specifically at Jasper, and we looked at things that, about 28.7% of the population that is below the poverty line. We want to make sure that when we're bringing in jobs, none of those positions are going to be below the poverty line. We want to contribute to solving that issue by giving people skills. And if they find that they've outgrown our organization, that their skills exceed what they can do, and they can stay within Jasper but move to another organization to pay more, as much as we hate to see those people go, we wanna make sure that they're given the opportunity to build themselves as an individual and better themselves in their county.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the question.
Okay, next thing is Sam has something to talk about that he's gonna hopefully help JEDCO with.
As I've talked with Mr. Danny, we have spoken, it's been brought up a couple times to my attention, as to JEDCO, we have a website, not many people probably see it. So I'd like for JEDCO to have a social media presence, whether that's, if y'all would be okay with just Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever that may look like. And I know when I've talked about it in the past, some people are afraid of backlash and what that may look like. You can turn off comments on posts and different things like that, and you don't have to respond to messages and things like that. But I think it would be really good for people to see what we're doing, how we're doing it, different projects, the good that we are doing, instead of just saying, you know, we know JEDCO exists, but what are they doing? Where are they? What are the beautiful things? Like if we do this butterfly project, we can post about that and just show the good that is in Jasper. And I think it could be really good for us.
And that's, Wade Wynn is here with Sun Bistro. And, would you like to get up and kind of tell people just in a short way what all you have planned?
Yes. Hi, my name is Wei Win. I have been in Jasper, well, I grew up in Jasper in 1994, and I've been in and out. In 2001, I went off to college, and I came back in 2014. We opened a Sun Asian Bistro with Sun, who is my partner. Some of you guys may know him, and Miss Hall and Tub. They live here. I live in Cedar Park. I have 2 kids. About 2.5 years ago, I had an opportunity to buy the book, etc. from Miss. And then shortly about a year and a half ago, there was an opportunity to buy a Pizza Hut, so we did that. We didn't just thought of these plans; these just happened to land. The opportunity came, and we did that. So in the last year, the reason why we haven't started developing this is we started getting bids. I'm not by any means an engineer or an architect or the greatest person when it comes to construction, but I do know my business. I can articulate things and put it together, and as you start putting these things together, what we think is going to cost something, it ends up costing more. And if you ever done a construction project, it doubles. We have the money for the building, we have the money for the concrete, but we had no idea that, you know, Jasper has a lot of rain, and our property sits on a slope where the engineer says, hey man, you put a piece of property here, all the erosion is going to happen, it's going to sweep under, you know, and then the asphalt, it's deteriorating. So we have the money for that. I live in Austin. The development for utilities, for sanitary, for sewers, the text duct, the electricity pole being moved, just before breaking ground, you're in at least $1 million. That's awesome. Here in Jasper, it's less. I calculate to be about 20%. You know, right now the Sun Asian Bistro, we've been here 10 years. I believe, you know, based on seeing these numbers, I think we've done our fair share of paying taxes. You guys have done 2-3 times that. More importantly, I do know that every year we contribute. We pay $260,000 to $290,000 in wages. So over the last 3 years, or 10 years, we paid about $2.5 million to employees. You know, last year I also had the opportunity when I came back here in August. You know, Sun and Hawk, that's all they do. They work, and I come in and I help them as much as I can. But you know, after a while, they're in their 50s. They've been here 20 years. You know, I can see that they're getting burned out. But one of the projects that we've been working on is this building. Put a lot of work into it. I think when you see it, it's going to be something that will bring a lot of attraction to Jasper. I'm really proud of it. And I can't wait to show you guys what we have planned. Unfortunately, going back to the development, I had no idea that to put a storm sewer in, it's not like just bring a piece of concrete and dig it out. And it costs a lot of money. It's not just a few thousand to the 1,500,000 just to put a proper retention pond, drainage, and doing all the easement and paying the CTAP fee. We're also proposing to relocate the electrical line wire. It's running really low across the property. And as you can see, April last year, it's already, the winter it blew and knocked that infrastructure down, so we have to put that out. So we're proposing to put a transformer pad. A year ago, I had the city of Jasper gave me a bid. It was like 72,000, something like that, with the transformer pad. So we need help with that. You know, those things does happen. What I'm proposing is if Jasper can give us 20% of, or asking what is estimated to be built. We have these bids are coming back just for the site utilities and the plans without the building. We don't need help with our building. We don't need help with the concrete. We just need help getting the land ready for the preparation. And so that's why I'm here. And I've been working with Eddie for probably the last year and a half. He's been, you know, we've met more than a dozen times. He's been nothing, I mean, he's rejected a lot of plans throughout the years. But this was one thing that he asked me, hey, just go ahead and keep on, even though there was some, you know, inner turmoil. You know, a few sites, a few people were on board with us, but we also felt that there was some riffles in there that this may not move forward. And I told someone, hey man, if we can't do this, let's just shut it down. You know, we're done with 10 years. We extended another year just to hope that we can do this. And now everything's coming together. We finally got the loan, but it's still not enough, right? It's just not enough for the whole infrastructure. I want to be in debt for the next 10 years just doing this, and so it doesn't make economic sense for me. My kids are over there, but I do want to give this back. I do want to help out son-in-law, and they are hard workers. They're innocent people by standard that do deserve this, and I do think that we give back as best as we can. We don't take this and go buy, you know, luxury, you know, stuff. We're not like that. We save everything we can. So I believe I'm asking for 20%, which is roughly 250,000.
Well, yeah, let me clarify what we talked about. You're saying that you will employ about 25 people, and you think it'll even be more than that.
Correct.
And we looked at what we're only looking at utilities, things that, you know, the infrastructure, and we easily found $250,000 we had to spend there. So I interpret your request for $250,000 to help with infrastructure, and in return, you're gonna pledge to employ at least 25 people.
Correct. Over the course of the 3 buildings, we will easily.
3 buildings there, plus food trucks and gardens.
Yes, I will be putting 800,000 of loan money, my money in there, just to do this project. And so if we can get, you know, 20% of the actual project costs, that would really help us out tremendously and move this thing forward.
Any questions?
I've seen his plans and the pictures and everything he put up on the board, a couple of months ago. And you know where the Pizza Hut and you know where the Golden Cetera was? He bought all that in between there. And the plans that he has, many of y'all have been to the cities and gone to PF Chang's, and it looks like that. He's got trees, he's got foliage, and that doesn't include the Pizza Hut or Golden Cetera. He's building a new building there. It is absolutely beautiful. It'll be a focal point when you come into Jasper. And it's really gonna be a nice project.
And he's been waiting on us for months
Yeah.
now to have this meeting.
Executive committee.
Yeah, we're gonna go, I think we're ready. Thank you. If there's no more questions or something, then we're gonna need you. Any more questions? We're gonna need to go next in the executive committee. We've got a lot of things to vote on and talk about. And, so, everybody, except for the board, will have to leave. And if you want to, you can wait outside and come back, but this may take a while.